Live from Cold Post Studios in the ATL. You know what it is.
Yeah. It's your boy Big Co.
It's your man Mastermind.
We back in the house again on the Big Co Show. We got a continuation of last week. We had a great conversation with some great people.
Yes,
so we didn't feel like at the end of the show that it was over. So we decided we'd bring them back this week and finish the conversation. You know what I mean? How's your week been going, brother?
Man, it's been pretty good. It's been a pretty good week. Today was pretty good day, so I can't complain. What I do want to do, I want to shout out some folks real quick.
Boom.
Real quick. Big shout outs to my crew from 3G's podcast. E-Baby, a.k.a. Erica, and Mia.
What up?
What up? And last but not least, one of my homegirls, a fabulous actress. Her name is Courtney Nicole. She is going to be starring in the new Tyler Perry series, Assisted Living. Is coming on tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on BET. So check that out. It's the Meet the Brown spinoff. So big shout outs to Courtney Nicole. Let me see if I can get you on the show.
Yeah, we definitely would love to have you on the show, Courtney Nicole. We love actors. We're actors. We love fellow thespians. That's our people. Mm-hmm. You know, speaking of that, what you said? What?
I was going to ask you how your day, but speaking of what?
I was just about to say, speaking of my day was pretty eventful. I would say uneventful, but I got, we're still doing that whole virtual school. Mm-hmm. So yeah, yesterday one of the kids asked the teacher if she was wearing a wig, like on camera. I know she was embarrassed. So yeah, we got a lot. It's very entertaining.
How did you not laugh?
It's because I wasn't on camera. Like I was laughing, but he was muted. Okay. So she couldn't hear me, and I wanted to go look. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to go look, but I knew I wasn't strong enough to go look. Because if her hair would have been like out of place in the least bit, I would have just busted out laughing. On camera.
Well, speaking of the kids, I got to give you props. Because the spinoff show, Water in the Seas, if y'all haven't seen it, check the link. It's in the subscribe to the show and then play the video. All right. Corey, I call it Cole Loves the Kids. Corey is surrounded by 5 kids. They talking about any and everything. And you, sir, did a masterful job.
I appreciate it, man. It was something that just kind of came out of nowhere. I was sitting around. I had a bunch of kids over because my kids had a sleepover. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking to them about like virtual school, and it was really like the stuff that we got on tape is nothing compared to the original conversation because kids are funny. But yeah, so shout out to all the parents that allowed me to borrow their kids for Water in the Seas. We really appreciate that. Shout out to all the friends of the show. I know Asia had checked there earlier. Thanks for subscribing. She said she been subscribed.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, that's what's up, homie. DJ, my homeboy Derek Jackson. Check out Derek Jackson art. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a show very soon with some people that are doing some great things and entrepreneurs and small business. So look out for that show.
That's going to be hot.
But we got some people waiting in the wings to chat with us from last week, man.
Oh, you ready for this?
I think so, man. Okay. I've been kind of waiting all week to, have another opportunity to have a conversation with Arash, you know what I mean? Because he's been heckling me.
He's been heckling you?
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
He heckles me.
Somebody hit me up. I was just like, I hope I didn't go too crazy on the last episode. Something like, yeah, you did, but it was necessary. It was worth
it. Yeah, he's a heckler. Like he heckles me on social media. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and bring Arash.
Let's go ahead and bring him in. Look what he did though. He changed his screen.
I'm not surprised.
Look at this. Look at this. What up?
This guy.
Look at this guy right here.
What's up, Arash? How you doing, bro?
First, it's a beautiful day. It's amazing to be alive in this great American country. We had a phenomenal, RNC last week. Nancy Pelosi just put her foot in her mouth, so we're excited. Things are looking good.
Off on the wrong foot already.
No, he's been heckling me. Like I'm telling you, I knew he was going straight in. He was going straight in. We had some great conversation last week.
Well, I like he has notes. He's ready.
Oh, he stays prepared. He stays prepared.
My dude. See, I feel bad. I left my notes. I came straight here. I was just like, I got no paper. I got nothing.
Yeah, he gave me notes actually. He kind of gave us notes in our back and forth. And then we also have Adrian coming back to the show again.
Adrian,
hey,
what up? What up?
What up, dog? How you?
I'm good, man. Good to be back. just looking forward to the conversation. Would like to see where it goes.
Yeah, man.
You too. Me too.
So a couple of the comments that people like fans of the show were making last week was particularly about you, Adrian. Like everybody seemed to like the way that you were willing to listen, but still making your points. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like a real conversation. I got a lot of like comments and responses about that. People pretty much hate you, Arash. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They pretty much. I'm joking.
No,
bro.
don't say that.
I'm joking. Nobody hates you. Nobody said anything negative about it at all. As a matter of fact, a couple of my friends that are in fact Trump supporters said that they appreciated the fact that I allowed you the platform to state your views, and that's what this is all about.
Oh yeah,
right?
we got to keep it 100. We can't be just one-sided.
That's what it's all about. So I want to start right in. So you kind of set it off a little bit. Arash, Mr. Ferraghi, when you talked about the RNC. So what were your takeaways? So what was it that had you like beating your chest, proud Trump supporter, Republican after the convention?
I mean, the fact that we got a president that's putting Americans first and, is thinking what's best for the country, to me, that's number one policy. What is best for our country. I wish that he had spoken a little bit more on how we could heal the country, on what's going on. But, I was really impressed with, the speakers and the fact that they brought a lot of, accomplishments to the first 4 years. And to me, it's America first. That's the number one thing.
Okay. Adrian, did you get a chance to watch any of the RNC last week?
I did not watch much of it at all, and to be honest, I didn't. I didn't watch a lot of the DNC one either. For me, I'm probably at that point where I know where I'm going to vote.
Right.
Mind at this point is not going to be changed just because of what I've seen in terms of what we're living right now, and. If it were a situation where we had, new candidates on both sides, okay, then I'd probably be a little bit more engaged in the RNC and the DNC just to find out what's going on. But I know what's on the ticket. I know my mind's pretty much made up at this point. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Gotcha. So at this point in the game, November's right around the corner. Is there anything that could sway you one way or the other? Is there anything that could happen that could make you say, "Oh, well, maybe"?
Well, given what's on the other side, I'm a Democratic supporter at this point. So, given what's on the Republican ticket, really short of Biden not being on the ballot at this point because something happened to him. I don't know how I would end up not voting for him at this point, and that's just the real answer.
Right. So Arash, so for me, what I did see, like when I did watch, and a lot of it were actual clips that I saw the next day, getting recaps. And you'll say, well, you got it from CNN. Yeah, I did get a lot of it from CNN, but they were actual video clips. One of the things that you said in the opening, you were like, whatever is best for the country. I still heard a lot of divisive rhetoric during a lot of the speeches that were going on during the RNC. So my question to you is, who is the you and who is the we? Because in a lot of those speeches, I heard stuff like, they're coming to take your job. We have to protect America. Well, who is the they in this situation? Who do you think is the implied they in this situation?
Well, I think they're implying the Socialist Democratic Party that, taking the Bernie Sanders manifesto, and they promised AOC and all the other people that they're going to have to try to keep Bernie Sanders, supporters. And so they're laying in bed with him, and they're promising all these things. And look at Portland. It's day 105 of, buildings being burnt down. There's constant Antifa. Black Lives Matter. It's not the real Black Lives Matter that started with Trayvon Martin. This is Black Lives Matter Nation, which, if you go on their website, says their number one sole purpose is to destroy the family nucleus of America. And that's not the same, Black Lives Matter that, again, was created with Trayvon Martin's unfortunate murder.
Well, I'm on the Black Lives Matter website at least twice a week, and I haven't seen that at all. I think you don't. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna misinform anybody. If I go to blm.com, I don't see that anywhere. You're welcome to pull it up. We can let you share your screen. But I was just on there the other day having the same conversation with somebody, and I didn't see that at all. We're here to destroy the family, is what you're saying? It says, come on, bro.
They want to separate the family nucleus.
What we do, man. Let's not misinform the people. But I do agree that what's going on in Portland has been going on for far too long. But I think it's primarily because of the military presence that's been in Portland. I think eventually in all these areas where you've had hot spots of protests and things have happened, they've eventually died down. When you bring in the military, of course, that makes it worse. And then that allows a spotlight for the people who are the actual groups that you're speaking of, that are the actual groups that are looking to just get a headline. That makes them go to that location because the Army's there, the National Guard is there. So that's where they're gonna go. So I think if we even long before when what was it, St. Louis, we've had recent riots where there was damage. But after a couple of days, when the military wasn't brought in or summons to promote law and order, things kind of quailed on its own.
Well, last night they were at the mayor's house shooting fireworks and trying to start the building on fire. There's no federal agents there. All the businesses that they've destroyed, there's no businesses there. That's funny that, people criticize Trump about putting up a border between us and Mexico, and they go and created a place called Chaz, Summer of Love, according to the mayor. And the first thing they do is they put up borders. It's like, wait a minute. And it's unfortunate that, the people, he says they and them, it is the far, far left, the Democratic Party that, I voted for at one point back in Clinton. It's not the same today than it was then. They're leaning so far to the left, the socialism, communism, that I don't want that for this country. And it took 90 something days for Biden to come out. It's not even really condemn the rioters. He hasn't even said Black Lives Matter, the extreme one, not the Trayvon Martin one, but the extreme one, and Antifa. He hasn't condemned them. And people are talking about Trump doesn't condemn white supremacists. It's kind of like you can't have your pie and eat at the same time. And he's never supported the white supremacists either. And Kamala Harris's campaign organization was, taking in funds. On her Twitter, she tweeted, "Please send money so we can bail these protesters out." And then they bailed somebody out who just turned around last week and murdered a Trump supporter that was bailed out by her organization. So it's kind of like
the difference, and Adrian kind of touched on this last week, the dog whistle. The difference is you can say, it's the far left and it's versus the far right. But when he's saying that, when he's speaking that rhetoric, I'm pretty sure that there are groups of people that interpret that as white people versus black people. And a lot of those are those groups that have historically been terroristic groups, murderous groups. Now, for you to compare that to a fledgling organization like Black Lives Matter, when we're talking about decades, hundreds of years almost of murder, kill under the flag of the KKK, I think that's an unfair comparison. What are your thoughts on that, Adrian?
Yeah, I just in general, I understand what you're saying. I think you can look at both sides, whether you want to talk about conservatives, liberals. There are people that are on the extremes that take things to the nth degree, and really, in my opinion, they talk so loud, they're so vocal that for me, just in how I operate, I tune them out. That's just how I am. I've said this a couple times on Facebook and with talking to people. As a liberal, I'm not a burn it down, set it on fire, get rid of everything. That's just not how I am as a liberal. I'm more strategic, and I think about the long range game, so to speak. And you know, I do agree that yes, there are some people that are, they're going to go out there and they'll march, and then as soon as a window gets broken, they'll rush in the store and they'll start grabbing stuff. But that's not 50%. It's probably not even 20% of the people out there. It's a small percentage of people, which I wouldn't condone. I don't think any of us on this program today would condone, and probably none of the people that you spoke about, Arash, in terms of voters during the Obama years or Clinton years. I'm sure most of those people wouldn't condone that type of behavior. Just like I know a lot of conservative people, especially in the baseball circle, that they probably would not condone a lot of the stuff that's coming out of Trump's mouth. I don't put that on them, but I have to hold Trump responsible for it. If he says it, or if he fails to make note of where Rittenhouse may have done some things wrong, or make note of the fact that, his supporters were shooting paintballs out the back of a truck at protesters. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's assault, is it not? So it's like to say, well, they were defending themselves. It's not. That's we cannot be that intellectually dishonest and say, if we can't even call that out, it's like, why are we even doing this? I look at it this way. Imagine if we were on the ball field, and if an umpire is not going to call balls and strikes, at least in a way that seems fair to both sides, why are we even out here? Right. And let's put down the hyperbole. And yeah, we know we got bad actors on the left and on the right, but I can look at the man himself. I would not want the principal at my kid's high school, the person who waits on me at a restaurant. I wouldn't want anybody that I interact with on a daily basis to interact with me like he interacts with people he doesn't like, or his opposition. I mean, if you don't have that kind of class about you, I can't do you. That's what, and that's kind of why I'm where I am about. I cannot support this dude no matter what.
Right. And I think a lot of people are willing to separate the policies from the personality. For me, I'm with you, Adrian. That's difficult for me to do. What you got? What you got, bro? I know you ready to say something. Well, hold on. Before you say anything, Reg, I want to ask you this question real quick, and then you can come back to whatever point you were about to make. If the goal is to open people's minds, as you've said now twice to me off camera, right? Said something about me having a closed-minded group of friends. I know it was tongue-in-cheek. And then you said you were going to enlighten us on some things. If that is the case, like if that's the goal, I don't know if the way that you're going about it is going to attract me to the other side. Like I mean, you have said some very you made some very great points about policy. And you made some very great points, and I will give you credit. I've done research and validated everything that you said in regards to some areas that African Americans can't say, okay, well, yeah. But overall, like, if I don't know anything about politics, I don't know anything. If I just fell off a spaceship from Mars, what are you going to tell me about your side that's going to make me understand and have compassion or conviction to lean towards that side?
I mean, politics itself is such a unfortunate, these days, like an enigma. We have so many factors out there, from the teachers unions to the lobbyists to special interest groups. There's so many things that, unfortunately, that a politician really, when they go into office, their hands are tied. They might make you all the promises that they're going to make. But the one thing I like is he said, we're going to drain the swamp, and I'm not going to be a nice guy about it. And he's going after and attacking them. And he's really stirred up the hornet's nest. And to that, for me, is the fact that we've had people in office, between Pelosi, Schumer, even Graham, and all those people. That's over 100 plus years of experience in the government, and we're still dealing with the same hypocrisy, the same just, we don't have government health care for all Americans. Like, there's so many things that they promise to do and they don't deliver. And back to Adrian's point, you know, a group of Trump supporters were riding into Seattle, into Portland this weekend, and there's Black Lives Matter supporters and Antifa off bridges throwing rocks. And there's videos, multiple videos of it smashing windshield. And on top of that, some of them were just regular citizens going through the city. And so, you know, rocks, paintball, it's still not the same, you know, a comparison, but it happens on both sides of the party. It's just who gets caught on video and who gets exposed. And unfortunately, you know, when you got a president that 96.7% of coverage on media is negative about anything he does. Like, I literally sat down for my research paper and I watched CNN 48 hours combined over last week, just watching. Not one single good report was mentioned. The fact that, you know, Israel sent a plane to United Arab Emirates, that was kind of covered, but it was like, this is what happened, but blah, 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 like 15 different negative things. And that to me was like, man, that's a historic moment, especially for a Middle Eastern person, for that to happen. That was so powerful. And I want to go back to one thing we talked about last week. For me, the reason I would vote for, you know, a Republican Party is I lived in Iran. I know the oppression that's happened. When Biden and Obama laid all that money on the tarmac in Iran, that spoke to me that he doesn't know about foreign policies. And for somebody who's not even coherently there and cannot finish a conversation or a topic, I mean, he had 3 gaffes this week on TV and he fell off, you know, reading the teleprompter. He's not the candidate that is running for president. It's everybody that's behind him pushing this ballot. And that to me is a dangerous, dangerous ground that we're on, because we know he's just a face. And why would we want to put an old white man that's been in there 47 years and we don't have somebody better than that represented on a Democratic Party? To me, it's flabbergasting. There's so many good people out there, and we vote, you know, that to me is an issue.
And I can agree with you on that. I mean, I look at politicians from the standpoint of, I really don't like the career politician, just because the nature of the business, you know, if by the time you've been in there 15, 20 years, there's no telling how many times you've compromised yourself, compromised your values just for political gain. So honestly, I felt that when Obama came along, I said, well, I thought he was kind of the perfect blend from the standpoint of, it's not like he had 20 years of political experience, but he had time in office, so he at least knew how things worked and how to get things done, and, you know, how to deliver a speech. And, you know, some people might not think that's important, but if you can't deliver a message as a leader, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what you have in your head if you can't deliver it and get people to follow you.
This is
so
true.
You know,
100%.
Yeah, and I think with regarding the stuff about draining the swamp, I get it. I understand we have all these established folks on both sides, left and right, that have been there for years, and they're basically raping the system, you know, for their own personal benefit and gain. But at the same time, there's been a lot of pretty swampy stuff that Trump's done, and I can't excuse that.
He won.
So it's like, I don't see how you can say, well, just because we got a bunch of cheats and liars over here, and we got a bigger cheat and liar to deal with them. I don't, that's not something I would hope that we would settle for as a country.
Yeah, I agree. Albert, welcome to the show. Look, I gotta say publicly, Albert, I sent the wrong link. So it's totally my fault that he did it. So I don't want anybody to think it's on him. It was totally on me. My bad, bro.
Just wait.
But yeah, I want to get you right in. But just to what Arash was saying about 96% of the coverage of Trump, I just feel like if Trump spoke for 3 hours, 90%, 96% of the stuff that he said would you don't have to spin. Like it just comes off the way it comes off. But I don't know if it's all negative press. Like when you come out to the public and you give false numbers, or when you say stuff like, I won't forget, like the other week when that explosion happened in Afghanistan, like he instantly said he was told it was a terrorist attack. Mm-hmm. And nobody confirmed that. So you were talking about like people having like not knowing how to deal with foreign policy. We know for a fact that Trump is not the best diplomat to be representing us in foreign policy. Like we know that, and he doesn't even trust his own people, because once you disagree with him, you're out. So
out of there.
So I just find that interesting. Welcome to the show, Albert. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing? Seems like you guys are already in deep conversation.
Yeah, we deep in it now, man.
Yeah, Arash actually started this before the show even started, like via inbox and stuff on Facebook. Like he's been poking the bear all day long, so we had to get right in. But basically, just to catch you up, we were just talking about like recap of the RNC, like, and I asked Arash like, what were some things that if I were an alien that just got dropped here from a different planet, like what should attract me to the Republican Party. And so that's kind of where we are. So what were your thoughts on? Did you watch any of the RNC?
I watched a little bit. I didn't watch a lot of it. Actually, I caught a little bit of the on YouTube, a few speeches or whatnot, but I already knew what was going on. A lot of carrying Trump and trying to make him human, which everyone knows he's a very interesting guy. Really not made up to be the leader of the free world. He's more of a conspiracy guy that just hit it just right, where the Democratic Party was more thinking Hillary's going to win, and she wasn't exciting to the party, and he slipped in there in those battleground states and picked up some votes where we didn't have a lot of votes. So it was just a perfect storm.
I don't think,
and hopefully that's not going to be the case this time.
I think he did think he was going to win. He said years ago, if he ever ran, because American people are so stupid, you remember that? Because the American people are so stupid, if he ran for president, he would win. And that's what he did. And he called all of us stupid. But to a quick question, though, like to your point, Arash, I agree. I pose this question to either Albert or Adrian. That's a very good point that a lot of people on the Republican side are making. It's like, Biden has been in there for 1 million years. He's been a part of the government for 1 million years. So why should we entrust, the next 4 years to him? I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like, I don't even like that term, but.
Yeah, I think it's just very immature. This is just politics that's being played. It's many politicians that's been in office for many years on both sides. But you notice this is not really being waged at both parties. And so it's more of just politics. While Biden's been in office, there's been a number of good things, and this country has been moving forward. We're coming off an 11-year bull market, which only got crashed during the Trump administration, poking the bear over at China. And if you want to go in to the conspiracy thing, I believe China gave us a biological attack because we was attacking them with the terrorists. Right. If you want to go way out there, and I believe some of the right wing of the party, way to the right, they believe in that too. It's China's fault, and China probably attacked us and did it on purpose. But what are we going to do to respond to that? And so, if we had a good relationship with all of our partners in the world, we probably would have been able to curb some of this pandemic a little faster than what we did. But we don't have a good relationship with one another. We've isolated ourselves from the world, and it's coming back to bite us.
Yeah. And I see a lot of people, like particularly Republicans, that are posting what is even reported on the CDC website in regards to dealing with the pandemic as being, misinformation. Like, what would be your response to that, Arash? Like somebody that's saying, if my issue is the way the pandemic was handled, like there was absolutely some things that were said very early on that I'm sure he wished. Well, I don't know if he ever wished he could take back anything, but I know some members of the party wishes that he could take back some of those things. And there were some things that were downplayed in regards to, the hundreds of thousands of deaths that have occurred due to the pandemic. Like, so what would be your response to that?
Well, the original maps and charts came out. It says it's going to be over 2 to 3 million people dying in America. And when Trump shut down the borders for China and other countries from Europe to come in here, people call him a racial xenophobe. And so Biden said we should never do that. And then he circled around, as he always lately, and went on with what Trump said, just like fracking. He's, everywhere you look, he's like, I'll ban fracking, I will ban coal. And then now he comes out, I will not do that. So I don't even know where he stands. But one thing you said, Trump said, if he run for president back in the day, the American people are stupid. You got Kamala Harris saying, young Americans are stupid. And she just said it in one of her speeches previously. So it's kind of like they both play the field. It's like, who's the sucker and who I can get you to vote. And that's sad. I just want what's best for America. And I feel sorry for, the people of China that are not part of the government. That's a communist, country. They want Joe Biden to win. I don't know. Go figure. And, and that to me is dangerous. And they're talking about Trump and Russia collusion. There are people now talking about China and Biden collusion to impacting the votes. So it's kind of like they're both misinforming us. They're both, parties are doing this, they're doing that. And unfortunately, we're stuck in the middle of it. And again, one thing I said earlier, Albert, is, things that we don't see. Is like the other day, Trump was at, a place giving a speech. The doorbell guy opened the door for him, and he was walking to the car, turned around, gave him some money. And some stranger was like, hey, can we take a picture with our kid? And the kid runs up, takes a picture. But the thing that you always hear from many sides is, yeah, the guy you see on TV, the guy you see on the platform is not the same guy you see in person. When it's one-on-one, you got undivided attention. He met one-on-one with the pastor that, unfortunately, that Jacob gentleman who was shot and paralyzed. He met with the pastors, and he released a statement like, Donald Trump's not the same guy that I expected when I met him. He was so empathetic. And when he said the word empathetic, I'm like, what? Like, holy cow, someone finally said something about his character. And that to me was powerful. And the fact that he allowed, when the pastor spoke the other day at the news conference, it really, touched my heart because he was amazing. He talked about spiritual. He talked about in order to have change, there's more than just criminal justice reform. It's about the nucleus of the family. It's about the soul of the man, the spirit of the man. And he let him talk. And that to me was so powerful. And, I feel like the left would have never allowed him to speak and would have probably muzzled him. That to me is my opinion, because he went spiritual, and everybody's talking about Trump's bringing the church back into the politics. We might need to go back to having prayer in the classroom. Russia, the communists brought prayer in our school, and unfortunately the Democrats took it out.
The Democrats took prayer out of school?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's written in the Constitution, right?
It is, but ACLU and the Democratic Party backed is not allowing you to have open prayer. All the football games, when you try to have prayer before, the coaches are not allowed to do it. There's so many things in classrooms that they've kind of, unfortunately, kind of nipped in the butt, and that to me is systematic. I mean,
all right, let's slow this down a little bit. We coming from a foundation of separation of church and state. That's in the Constitution for a reason. I know that the founding fathers were all Christian, and they were conservative in their Christian belief, but they believed in making sure that we did not use our government to push any religious ideology on the general citizenship. That left that up to the church. And so when you're talking about the school and talking about praying, I think it's perfectly fine for the students to pray, but not any of the teachers or the government officials cannot lead a prayer, in the student population, because, you got Muslims, you got people that don't believe in God, you got different religions, Buddhists or whatnot, and nowhere would they want to have their tax dollars represent one religion or another teaching their kids sponsored by the government officials. So I think it's more where teachers have to hold back their religion unless a student maybe come to the teacher, privately, or ask for some kind of guidance, and then maybe the teacher can share their information at that time. So
I agree with you 100%. The fact that a captain of a football team cannot have a prayer in his locker room,
I don't think that's the case.
I don't think that's the case, though.
That's protected by the Constitution of freedom of speech and freedom to express yourself in public. But the coach, actual football coach,
he cannot do it.
Yeah, he cannot do it because he's an official of the school. But you do have football coaches that does it. Like at the end of the game, all the teams may come together, and then maybe one of the football coaches still will lead it. But there's a little bit of leeway there. But in the official capacity, principals and other teachers and leading it over the intercom, they may bring in a preacher or someone from different religions, and maybe they look at the demographics of the school and say most of everybody in here is Christian, where there's not any student that's going to be offended that you're trying to indoctrinate them with it, because that's one of the lines of the Republican Party is their children are being indoctrinated in liberal ideology in school. So how can you have it both ways when you want to turn around and indoctrinate a child, a general citizenship in one religion or the other? So let's just keep a fair country.
Well, I got a question for you. So, it's been some time. I take it that you've been to school and university, right, Albert?
I've been to school and universities.
No, but it's been some time.
Yeah, but I've coached middle school football for 15 years, and I ran the score clock at Pebblebrook for a number of years also. So I'm I'm right down the street from Pebblebrook. We go to it every now and then. So
I'm taking a class right now, and I got marked off a couple of points on a paper, and I didn't use the they, them reference instead of she or he. And do you feel that, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, you need to talk to that teacher.
Yeah. Okay. So I think
that's what's being taught in school. It's this is how I feel. This is how you address me. And somebody who's been so long in the system, like it's I'm describing a female. I'm going to put her.
What's the contents of the class? Is this a law school class or something? It's like that?
Sociology class.
And did the teachers say that we want to be gender neutral in the writing? So that is correct. She kind of gave you the parameters in that regard, and trying to move you along in a new generation of Me Too and the gender neutral official documents or whatnot. So I'm not.
But what's your thoughts on that particular school teaching? That particular where we're going?
Well, I mean, I would say that I'm not that strict. I don't try to control people's lives that far, but I understand where women may feel like they're being less than in the way that we approach things. So trying to make that effort to create a neutral playing field, I can understand it. I'm just not there yet. So
okay, we're on the same page on that.
But
that's what they're teaching.
Like if she gave the parameters though, like up front, I mean, you are an antagonist.
Well, no. It wasn't. It was I take it the parameters weren't set up. It was about you read a story and then you talk about how it's socio-economical and where is this person and the name is Karen. So.
Oh no, not a rush.
Like, the name was
boom. It was like double whammy.
You said the name was Karen. What? We lost you after that.
No, it's just I'm having a hard time with that because that's a lot of the information. that they're putting in school is being indoctrinated from the left. It's some of the information that I'm reading now and I'm going through, especially the sociology class. It's so eye-opening that I wonder why these students and these young teenagers are so confused that this entire education system is totally different than what we went through back in the day. It's not the same. And it's, America's bad. And it's like everybody has, a right to certain things that it's like, that's biologically, it's just, there's a lot of things that, I've seen that's like eye-opening to me that I would have never thought if I would have finished school, 15 years ago that I would have to deal with now. I understand times are changing, but it's just a different curriculum and different things that are, they're introducing to the class I can see how everyday teenager, the young Americans are so confused. It's so diluted. It's not, I don't know if I'm just off tangent, but
I don't know if they're confused. I think maybe we're just not happy with the choices that they're making. And back to something that you said earlier about you compared Kamala Harris saying young people are stupid to Donald Trump saying if I ever run for president, I'd win because America is stupid. I don't know if there's a person over 40 that hasn't made a reference to a young person in some capacity of the same way. It's a generational thing. But what he's saying is I can dupe the whole country because people are stupid. I definitely don't think that's apples to apples.
What was the context in that? What was the context in that him saying that? It could have been that they're so stupid that they're following the same politicians over and over. I mean, we don't know the context.
No, I'm pretty sure it was during the Reagan era. I'm pretty sure it was in the 80s when this happened. Now, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
I know. It's one of those things we throw out there, hope it sticks to the wall, and go with it.
Well, one of the things I'm looking at is this country is progressing on. I live by a few principles. One that I've gotten principles from mentors like my coaches and whatnot. They say, Albert, you never stay the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Right.
And so if this country is to not stay the same or stay in the same rut that we've been in the past, I think that's the basis of where we're going. I mean, if you look at the presidency, all white males, it's time for us to have females and people of color to rise to the top and have a shot at leading this country, a shot at having success. And so when this gender neutral thing is coming in, it's in regards to how we view males in our system, how we write our legal documents with a very masculine context. And so if we're going to try to move this country towards a more perfect union, these are some of these steps where conservatives don't want to move forward, but progressives want to move forward towards what this country was founded on. All men or all citizens are created equal. And so if that's where we're going, why are we fighting this when we're just trying to live up to our better angels and live up to our Constitution? And that church and state, in regards to separation of church and state, they're trying to make it to where we're not indoctrinating citizens with a certain religion. That's just a movement to live up to our Constitution. And so why are we fighting that? Why we can't find a way to embrace our Constitution and how it was written and the purpose that it was written for?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because President Trump was the first president that went to the United Nations and asked for the the Arab countries to stop persecuting the LGBT community. Mm-hmm. I've seen it firsthand what they do to the LGBT community in Iran. I've seen it where they throw them off the buildings. And he's the first president that went to United Nations and condemned it and asked for a change. And that to me is a huge, huge, huge step forward than all the other presidents that came before him. So I'm excited the fact that they did that. I work for a company that's one of the best place for a female to work. It's one of the best companies for LGBTQ people to work. And, I'm the minority in that organization. And I love, the company I work for. And it's great people. I love who I meet every day, and they're phenomenal people. And the fact that Trump went and did that spoke volumes to that community, and that was never covered on national TV. That's sad, and know about it is because I have friends.
But you do know
that are LGBTQ.
You do know there's policies to frustrate the LGBTQ community in regards to their full citizenship. They're paying taxes, but they can't get married. They're paying taxes, but they can't get a cake baked. I mean, these are progressive policies that has been fought all the way. I mean, we had a city clerk did not want to sign the marriage certificate of a LGBTQ citizen that wanted to be married. So these things are where the conservatives are persecuting these people to where they cannot enjoy the full rights of citizenship, for religious reasons, religious doctrine.
Well, I'm glad he brought the cake up, because the fact that the couple said, we don't feel comfortable based on our beliefs to make you the cake, but we know an amazing cake shop right here. It's our friends. We'll introduce you to them. And they refused it. They purposely went after that particular couple. And I believe the Supreme Court ruled in their favor. So needless to say, they did the right thing. It's their personal values, and it's on their wall that says we are a Christian-based company, blah, blah, blah. Yes, separated church, and I get it. They pay taxes. I get it. But then at that point, the government can't really come on top of them and say, you need to make it because of this, this, and this. And they had the right to refuse service.
So in regards to that slippery slope, can it be a religious belief that I'm not going to serve black people because they got tails? I don't feel comfortable serving black people in my establishment. So you guys got to go around the back or go down the street, somebody who will serve you. I mean, is it feasible that fits in the same vein?
Because for years, people like even Christian organizations have used certain things like that to be discriminatory against black people. And speaking of which, it's amazing to me how there's a Christian organization that's raising money for the 17-year-old murderer in Kenosha. So, I mean, I agree with Albert 300%. It's a slippery slope in regards to how religion can be used as a lever to have leverage. Like, and I don't know if I agree with that. I am a professed Christian. Me, myself, personally, I'm a Christian. I'm a Jesus guy, like all day, every day, So, but I still understand and respect the right to other people to have their own respect and their own rights. You know what I mean? So if it's, whatever somebody else does and chooses for their family, that's what they choose to do. And back to the whole, prayer in school. My son's never experienced prayer in school. He knows how to pray. So I totally get where you're coming from, but I think the breakdown in the family is more of a leading cause for that rather than prayer in school. And part of the breakdown in the family is the mass incarceration of black men and cops killing us in the streets because we trying to break up a fight. So until we address that, like it's not a whole lot for me that anyone can say if the conversation doesn't start there. If the conversation doesn't start, we have a president that is creating this divisive nation. I'm telling you, and black people and people of color all across America will tell you, white people are different, bro. They're different now. Like I just read a story where somebody returned a U-Haul truck and got shot at by a 70-year-old couple in Tallahassee, because they were black, more or less. They're getting that from the top. Attitude reflects leadership. And as long as he spits that divisive rhetoric, we are going to be at odds as a group of people. And if your main concern is for the good of America, you said that 3 different times, at some point, I think we have to acknowledge the fact that this is coming from the top. And I want to get Adrian in. I know we've been going in and out with him. I want to get in and see if he had anything to offer. We could go all day about, but
I mean, just from what I could pick up from what I've heard as we're going in and out, I think back and I would challenge everybody to be a little bit more intelligent about what actually goes on, and let's actually practice what we preach. You know, we talk about accountability, but let's hold the leadership accountable. I think one of the things when I step back and kind of look at it all, one of the things that stands out to me the most is just how in a few short years the Republican Party completely flipped from the standpoint of back when McCain and Obama were running, you know, back in 2008, it was Obama was too inexperienced. Well, Trump has absolutely no experience. Right. It was let's jump on Michelle Obama because she said America was a very mean-spirited place. Look at what's going on in society and tell me she wasn't correct. I mean, you got people cursing and fussing because they don't want to wear masks. The heck with whether it protects you and the rest of society, they don't want to wear a mask. That sounds like mean-spirited to me. Obama would be an elitist if he sends his kids to private school. Trump talks about his $1 million loan from his dad. How can you get more elitist than that? But the Republican Party has welcomed all of that. So just in general, it amazes me how quickly they flipped just because they want the judges. They want the conservative principles that he's going to push. And they don't care at what cost it comes at.
If Trump loses, is there any way that the Republican Party can bounce back? This is open for everybody, but I'm gonna start with Adrian.
In my mind, no. I look at it and I've said to myself, you know what? If the Republicans lose the next 20 presidential elections, I wouldn't care. And they kind of deserve it. I don't understand how you can leave the country in the hands of this guy just because there is no moral compass. There is none. So it's like, what are you like I talked about with all the judges? They want those conservative judges. They want the conservative principles. And I'll say this, you know, even though I say I'm a liberal, like I said, I'm not just the far left, whatever the left idea is goes. I mean, when we were talking about with the prayer in school and things like that, a lot of stuff I kind of keep
like you about to break it down. All right, Albert, on to you.
Yeah.
You cut now, Adrian.
This is a little complicated in regards to where the Republican Party don't like to lose. No party don't like to lose. But unfortunately, this magic that Trump and Steve Bannon has held over the Republican Party and their red meat base, it's like a cult following. And what the middle of the Republican Party have found out is that this movement is very strong. This current is very strong that they're striking up. And if they want to win, they need that red meat base to win. So if Trump end up losing, I guarantee you the middle of the party will come back into the party and start to flush out this spirit that Trump has gemmed up with the far right of the Republican Party, which I think the country will start to heal once they have the lightning rod to feed on Trump in a way that this far right has embraced Trump. And so just look at Lindsey Graham. At first, he was speaking of a man of high intelligence and a person that at least thought through what he was saying. Then he realized that he needs Trump to win. And so he had to flip a whole 180. And a number of members of the Republican Party that's in the middle of the party knows what's going on is wrong, but they cannot win a re-election unless they go along with it. Some have left the party. Some have been silent. Right. Some say they're going to support Joe Biden. But those are the ones that had good conscience to say, I can't go along with this. Right. I see it for what it is. I mean, you ain't heard Bush say anything. I guarantee you're not going to see Condoleezza Rice come up and say, I support Trump 100%. These are staunch Republicans. But they just
as well.
It's foolishness.
Gordon Powell has always endorsed the Democratic Party, every single president. On top of that, it took Obama a win to the last person in the party, Biden, to be the only one there to endorse. He wouldn't even endorse him as his own vice president when he's going against all these other people. You know, it's
speak on Condoleezza Rice, because I think Colin Powell came in after Obama. He kind of like he went in with the racial thing and said, "Hey, I'm gonna support the first black man." I believe that was the issue. But Condoleezza Rice has been staunch Republican, and I have not seen her not one time speak or stand beside Trump.
I can't speak to that.
If you find out all these, African American people to speak for the party, like you would think that would be one of the ones that you're ace in the hole.
I would
have not seen her.
Joe Biden would pick Condoleezza Rice. That's who I was rooting that he would have picked.
I think Trump was showing that there's new blood in the Republican Party. It's not the same people that go with the swamp and everybody else. Condoleezza Rice, I don't know what the status with that is. Unfortunately, I'm not an insider. But again, Albert, the question I have for you is, how in the world would you want to vote for Biden when he's not coherent there? I mean, they should be charging his campaign with elder abuse. He cannot even finish.
Use that as an example, though.
He can't even. He's not even. He's going to be in charge of the country, the nuclear button. Who do you want to call at 3 a.m.? It's what Hillary's famous words. The guy can't even finish a teleprompter speech. He probably doesn't even know he selected Kamala Harris as his VP, which he probably did. Unfortunately, he's not running the show, and that to me, that's what I'm afraid of.
But you're comfortable with itchy Twitter fingers, though? I don't understand your arguments, Arash. Like, you're comfortable? Seriously, you're comfortable with itchy Twitter fingers. Like, but you're saying that because Joe Biden had a problem reading the speech off a teleprompter, that he's incompetent? Come on, bro.
He's not there, man. Come on. He's not there.
I think
come on.
Don't
make me play his last speech. Don't make me play his last speech.
We got
there.
He's not there. Big Co show. This is Big Co.
Yo.
Before we go, this lightning round, answer as succinctly as possible, and then we're gonna do our parting shots. So my first question, we're gonna start with Adrian because you've been in and out of the show. Right. Everyone gets to answer. First question. Should the Electoral College continue or end?
Right now, I'm in favor of it ending at this point.
Yeah.
All right, Albert. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, expound.
No, I'm in favor of it because when you think about how it was designed, whoever wins the popular vote should win the Electoral College. And you look at the 2 times it's happened, they've been in the most recent couple of elections. So things have changed to the point where it's probably past its usefulness.
Albert.
Well, I know a lot of land gives you more votes or whatnot, but I'm in favor of electoral college. I think we need some tweaks in regards to maybe give some more delegates to some larger states with larger population, and possibly also the gerrymandering thing. If we correct some of that, I think the electoral college will make sure that every state has a say in the election. But
all right.
It'll be three major states that have all the say. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I definitely think it needs to be kept. I think voter fraud needs to be, I think you should have an ID when you walk in to vote to prove who you are. But I think it should stay. All
right. Next question. We're going to start with Arash, then Adrian, then Albert. Should presidential candidates show off their taxes?
Should put out their taxes?
Yeah, release their taxes.
I'm sure they should. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I mean, you know why we asked the question, though, right?
I know you are. It's bait and switch. It's bait and switch. I get it.
Okay. I mean, I say yes. Quick story. A few years ago, we did a program at work called Insider Threat. And basically, if you had access to certain information, they considered you a possible threat. And one of the things they wanted to know was, how's your credit? I felt a little violated over it, but if that can happen to me as an IT analyst in a Fortune 500 company, why can't it happen to the president?
Right.
And Albert.
I mean, privacy is to be let out in the public. It's a slippery slope. I think maybe a vetting from the FBI or whatnot, but they cannot release it if it's nothing there. If something there that's illegal, yes, they can criminally charge them or say that this is disqualified. But just to put it out as a political fodder, I'm not for that.
So check it. You can check it, but just don't share it with the world.
Yeah, you can be examined by the FBI or law enforcement to make sure there's no Russian interference or all this other stuff that he's getting ready to be locked up for once he come out of office.
Yeah. Right. Look, as usual, man, we're running out of time. Great show. We want to give party shots. Go around the horn. What do you want your last sentiment to be? Well, it don't have to be your last sentiment ever. Y'all are all welcome to come back on the show whenever. Yes, you are. So we'll start with a rash. What?
30 seconds.
Let's end with a rash. Yeah, I'm gonna let him take us out.
Trump tight.
I'm gonna let him take us out. Go ahead, Al.
30 seconds.
Okay, Arash, I really appreciate you, man, and I'm honored to be here talking with you. You got a liberal, a conservative Democrats, and some other Democrats, and you're in the Fox pen or whatnot.
I see.
And I really appreciate it. We need more dialogue like this. We need to get to a point where we have thicker skin to talk amongst one another and hopefully come to some consensus and get to know one another and keep this country together. So I'm enjoying this conversation. Let's do more of it. And please, everyone, try to talk to more people that's on the other side so that we all can continue dialogue and continue to be a cohesive country.
I agree. Adrian.
Like I said earlier, let's try and be a little bit more intelligent about how we vote. Let's consider somebody's record, their track record, what they've done. And, if you wouldn't accept that type of behavior in your personal life, I don't know why you would accept it from a politician. These guys do not come from some other planet. They're not sent down here to rule over us. They're our neighbors. There are teachers. There are people we, worship with. So, hold them to the same standard you'd hold your neighbor next door to.
Good stuff.
My man.
I gotta put a rash on the clock though. Okay. All right, rash, go.
Well, the Democratic Party is all scared right now. The fact that the sitting president at the time, Obama, was spying on a potential candidate, and that information is about to come out. So we'll see how that goes. Nancy Pelosi is shutting down barbershops, salons in California, and going behind doors and getting her own haircut done while millions of people over there in that state are dying and their businesses are just, their businesses are dying. And that's sad. I'm going to call it right now. Trump is going to win New York and he's going to win the presidency by a landslide.
Well, that's a great way to end the show. On some bull. I was playing.
You watch. Hey. You watch.
I was wondering if he's going to win New York.
He's going to win New York, and he's going to win the presidency.
Vote. Like, everybody, vote. Like, whatever your convictions are, whatever your party is, go out, register. Make sure you register.
Get registered now.
We gotta be able to voice our opinion in a big way.
Can I get just one more question? Hey, how do you guys plan on voting?
Great question.
In person. If you can get a haircut in person, you can vote in person. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for doing that for the Republican Party. Vote in person.
All right.
I have requested my mail-in ballot, but I would probably like to hand deliver it and not just put it in the mail.
Yeah.
The company I work for has actually doing something where they're trying to get employees paid to go work in the polls, and I'm excited about that.
I'm gonna probably vote in person. The precinct that I go to is not that. It doesn't have that long of line, so I just probably go in person.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cole?
I'm going to the church. Like I'm going the same way I voted in the primary. I'm gonna go around the corner. I was in and out in 15 minutes. I'm talking about literally there was nobody in there. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sure to be different in November, but literally there was nobody.
I requested my ballot. I did it last time. What's cool about that? It makes it easy for you to research candidates when you're going down ballot. Yeah. So I can research it so I can make a more informed opinion, because if I do it while I'm there, it's just a crapshoot. I was just like, I don't know who these people. Maybe this is the person I want to pick. So I can research. Plus, I can hand deliver it and drop it in the ballot box when it's time to vote. And so that's what I'm going to do, because once you request your ballot, you can't get in line and vote unless you have your ballot with you. Mm. So might as well just drop it off when you get there.
Yeah. But just select every candidate with an R for right.
R for you wrong about that, sir. So thank you so much.
We appreciate y'all, the co-stars on the Big Coach Show. My man Mastermind. Yep. Thanks to all the fellas that was on the show. Sorry, Carlene couldn't be available tonight. She wanted to be here, but she couldn't. But we'll get her back on at another time.
Yeah, her connection is worse than Adrian.
Have a great evening, fam. Appreciate it, man.
The Democratic internet subsidy.
He had a lot to say earlier, Albert. Like he been going hard.
He been going in hard.
It's crazy. All right, you know what? Appreciate it, man.
Next time.
Right.
Next Wednesday. Entrepreneurs.
Next week we're gonna be talking to entrepreneurs and business owners.
There we go.
It's going to be a great show for people that we know that have some varying degrees of business. But yeah, tune in. It's going to be very entertaining.
All right. We out of here, y'all.
All right, fam.
See you.